Welcome to Life and Laughs with your host, Johnny Sanchez.
Welcome to Life and Laughs. I'm Johnny Sanchez, and I'm so excited today. We have a guest on the show. She is a very successful actress, entrepreneur, model. She's got a lot of credits to her name, including General Hospital, Love in Translation, Homemade Christmas, which is one of my favorites, Spare Parts, Shadowhunters, and many more. Please welcome Miss Michelle Argyris, and I hope I said that right.
Close, Argyris, but it's fine.
You live in Los Angeles, but you're from Canada, right? That's
right.
So you're in LA today, I assume.
I am, yeah.
What's some of the differences moving from Canada to Los Angeles?
I mean, I think the most obvious one is weather.
Yeah, really.
My family's in Canada. So when I go home, it's like my home and my family, and it gets freezing cold as soon as like December, January, February hits, which is nice for like a week. And then I'm like, okay, where's the sun at? So yeah. I definitely, the weather is one of the biggest differences. And I really enjoy sunshine and nature. So that's what kind of drives me to stick over here.
Yeah. Do you like all the hiking? Because I know there's a lot of hiking trails out in LA. I love that when I visit. It's so scenic. And like you said, the weather is always perfect.
It's always perfect.
Yeah.
It is. I almost feel bad saying that. It's like, it is such a beautiful spot.
LA just totally fascinates me, the history of the business. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It is such a different town too. Like I could compare them in so many different ways, but that depends on everyone's, like every experience is unique based on each individual, but like, it's just such a creative, flowy space here where it's fascinating to be around other people who are willing to do what they want in life versus what they think they need to do. It's like the people who are willing to take a chance, even if it doesn't work out, to just say, at least I tried, and at least I'm like aligning with what I kind of want to do with my life. And maybe you come down, you're like, actually, it's not what I want, but having the bravery to take that risk and that leap. I think that takes a really, unique individual, and there's a whole pile of us here.
Yeah.
Trying to figure that together.
Yeah. Isn't that great though? Because for example, if you walk down Hollywood Boulevard, you will meet people from all over the world with speaking many different languages. That is so cool to me.
It is amazing. And when you take the time to sit and really listen to people's stories and what brings them, to where they are, it's fascinating. And everyone wants to, tell a story or connect to others. And I think like when it comes to the arts, for those who are here not to become a celebrity, but to actually want to connect and share stories together, I think it's really beautiful. And like I said, everyone's story is just so unique. It's really, really fun.
Yeah, you really got to love the business. I'm sure you've heard, they always say that if you're coming out there to be a star, it's probably not going to happen. Did you find that to be true?
I've seen people who are like, I'm going to be a star, and they get lucky and it happens overnight. Like that does happen. But then I question the longevity of that if it's not coming from your heart.
Right.
Like if your intention is to have that, there's nothing wrong with that. And it could happen. I mean, it does happen for people. But I think like for me, I love finding the truth in every situation so that when you put that on screen and someone watches it, they connect to you, and that feels good.
Yeah. Your whole heart is in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a scary thing to give away.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. But that's pretty much what it takes. I mean, because you want to do your best in every character. And so you've really got to put your whole self into becoming that character for the viewers to perceive it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. Knowing the character well. And I think listening to your like partner, because I'm guilty of this too. When I get really nervous or I sometimes get in my head, it's because I'm thinking about me, and I'm thinking, I'm nervous. What if the words don't come out properly? What if I forget my first line? And I sit in a space of kind of like anxiety, because I'm a human too, and I know what it's like to feel that way. But when I take myself out of me and I just focus on like my acting partner or the person that's speaking, it doesn't give me room to worry about me, and it makes me focus on them. If this makes sense, I know I'm kind of going off, but once I take myself out of my head and I worry about the person in front of me and what I need from them in that current moment, that's where I can create connection in real life and on screen.
Yeah.
So I can tell when you're in the head space and the heart space. It can jump around sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I've noticed you're into fitness quite a bit from a lot of your posts and everything, and you're very athletic. Have you always been athletic? Did you participate in some things as a kid that helped you to really be involved in fitness?
Yeah. So my mom put me in gymnastics when I was like 4.
Oh, wow.
And they were handpicking us from these little groups for who was going to train to potentially, go to the Olympics. When I was a kid, they handpicked me to do it. And it was fun. And I would train like 35 hours a week. It was 6 days,
Wow.
6 days a week, 5 hours a day. Like it was intense.
Wow. At 4 years old?
I started at 4, and they started doing the picks around about 6 or 7, if I'm just guessing right now, but about that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because as soon as it got so serious, it took out the fun for me of going and playing and being a kid and like just enjoying trying new things where there's like such a crazy expectation, put on you. So I asked to kind of come down a level so that I didn't have that pressure. And, I ended up going to a competition one level down, and then I ended up placing first on all the apparatuses, which wasn't fair to come down. So I had to find a group where I wasn't being pushed so hard, because it just didn't align with me. It didn't make me happy, but also be able to compete like fairly with people in different, levels.
I saw that you represented Team Canada at the National Cheerleading Championships. Can you still do a lot of those, the backflips, the cartwheels? Do you do all of that?
I can, but it hurts now. Like every year I get a little older and I get a couple more pains in my back. Like I went to a hip hop class 3 weeks ago and I had a blast. I was so happy. And like while I was doing one of my like booty pop shake moments, I think I slipped a disc, and then I was out for like a week. So I feel like my brain wants to keep doing the flips, but I have to constantly think about what my body can still do.
Pop being the key word there, I guess. Yeah, the older we get.
Exactly. But no, from gymnastics, I did power tumbling and dance and cheerleading, and I taught fitness classes. And I always just loved having an active lifestyle, whatever that meant, whether it was someone showing me or me showing someone, like, or sharing it together, going on hikes, like anything that has to do with nature and movement and stuff like that, I really enjoy.
Yeah. Has some of your roles been attributed to some of your athleticism?
100%.
Yeah.
Like 1,000,000%. The very first role I ever got, I got possessed by a devil. It was my first go at doing a movie. And I had to do like the backwards bend.
Oh, wow.
And I, like all the athleticism came into play. I had to hang off the wall and be in like these weird contorted positions and stuff. So it helped with that. In Shadowhunters too, I had to do a lot of like fight scenes, same with Spare Parts, a lot of fight scenes. And in fact, in a series I did called Big Top Academy, it was like a Cirque du Soleil meets Harry Potter type show. And I was the headmaster for the kids of the show. So it was more primarily based on the kids, but I was in every episode with them. And so I had to be able to do the tricks and learn how to do all the Cirque du Soleil stuff as well.
Wow.
So handy. Yes. And I think just generally having a body awareness on screen, like knowing where things are, knowing where the camera is, knowing where people are, and just like having like a musicality to things, whether it's comedy or a pause, and knowing when
Yeah.
keep going. Like it helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. What are some of the auditions like then for some? Do you have to do cartwheels and those type things when you audition for roles like that, or how does that work?
Yeah. For that one, the Big Top Academy, I had to send in a tape where I did some cheerleading. So I had a guy throw me up to his hands, and then I was standing up on his hands up here, and I would pull like little moves and back bends and all that kind of stuff. And then I would show the flexibility and the movement and the dance and stuff. So yeah, they got to check to make sure that when you're watching, it looks authentic as well.
Right.
You can't really pretend that you can only pretend so much on the physicality or get a body double if you can't do it. But it's nice if you have a little bit to kind of at least show. And then when it comes to the dangerous stuff, like you can get a body double to do like a stunts person to do all that kind of stuff. How
and when did you get your start in acting? Did you always know you wanted to be an actor since you were little? Tell us how that played out.
So I had a really bad experience.
Oh no. Oh no.
Well, this is why I'm afraid of theater. So I haven't done any theater since this experience. So I do love performing and I love people. I just love connecting and feeling things with people. That's what I always knew. So when I was in high school, I did a play called Grease, which I know we all know.
Yeah. Who'd you play?
I played Marty.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that had all the boyfriends. And,
yeah. Little attitude-y, a little bit.
I think they all had a little attitude.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I think she had the most attitude. She's awesome. And I had I'm not a singer by any means. Like I can hold a tune, but I'm like, I wish I could open my mouth and like music came out,
Yeah.
But it's not the case. But it was more of like a talk through song, Freddie, my love. I love you more than words can say, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right now I just got nervous.
No, so that was awesome.
No. So that's what happened to me. It was my turn where I had a solo and I was starting the song and all of a sudden I just blanked. And I was like, And I just pretended to brush my hair and I was doing like big movements. And in my head, I was going, oh my God, 8 counts just went by. Holy crap, 2 8 counts just went by. And I still haven't said a word. And then Rizzo, who's like doing backup singing for me. She turns around, she looks at me like, and I'm like, brushing my hair. And then she started to sing for me, gets me back into the song. And I finished the song off. But that feeling of like wanting to say something, but you don't even know your own name or where you are anymore. Like that's a scary moment,
That's incredible. But everybody that's ever done a play has a moment like that. Yeah.
But nobody noticed. That's the magic.
Exactly. You sold it by your movements. You kept going. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that I was wanting to challenge myself this year or next to, even if it's a small little part in a theater show, to just do it again.
Yeah.
Try.
Because there's such a thrill being in front of a live audience like that. Is just incredible to me anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I could feel that in the cheerleading, world. We wasn't saying anything, but we had dance routines and it was like all performance based. And it was just fun. I would, even though I was performing, I would look at the judge and I'd do my little move straight to them and then whatever the move was. So it was a little dance and it's very kind of theatery too. So I guess that's considered performance as well. And we did it at a high level.
I've also read from several people, and also it's very evident that you have a bubbly, outgoing personality. How would you describe yourself? And better yet, how would your family describe you?
I think that's always a really hard question. You have to think about how do I view myself and how do other people view me? So I feel like perhaps you're right. I'm bubbly and positive. I always try to find the playful part of life. I'm very eager to learn. I love connecting with people. So I just have this childlike, I think this is what I would describe myself as, I guess, a childlike view of the world. So I'm just always so curious and interested in everything that's happening. Yeah.
Do you have a big family?
Not too big. I have my brother and my mom and my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's get into some of your acting roles here because you landed your first romantic comedy in 2020 playing the role of Megan in Lifetime's Homemade Christmas with Travis Nelson, which I love. I mean, I get made fun of. Let me just preface this with I love Christmas movies, the Hallmark, the Lifetime. I'm one of the only men. I take so much heat from this from my friends, my girlfriend. Oh, it's bad, but I really loved it.
Unapologetically just love it. It's fine. We all have our thing and you're allowed. That is awesome. And thank you for saying that you like that. That was, it's funny that the Homemade Christmas, fun fact, I wasn't the first choice for that movie.
Really?
In fact, a girlfriend of mine was the first choice, and she had something else that she was on, so she couldn't do it. And then I was handed the role for Homemade Christmas. But I believe in life, everything happens the way it was supposed to. So that role was meant to be mine. If something happens where I lose a role or it gets handed to someone else, like that wasn't for me, and it's fine.
Right.
So I'm so grateful for that one in particular. And thank you for bringing up Homemade Christmas, because it was a time where I got to like really explore myself too as an actor and like feel comfortable in not always like thrillers, in being the like quirky rom-com, lead of a film. And Travis Nelson too, which was a really special person to work with. In that film, it was like he gave me space to just be myself and vice versa. And so we never worried about what our lines were. And in fact, we messed them up all the time. Yeah. But we had so much fun together. It
showed. I loved it. I loved him too. You guys were great. It totally showed.
Yeah.
We were having fun.
Absolutely. And he allowed me to open up on camera in a way where my quirkiness is okay. And you don't need to be perfect, and that perfectionism can get in your way. So to just let go and enjoy somebody else and make it about them, not yourself,
Yeah.
And and then after that one, that's when all the rom-coms and the Christmas movies started coming in, and they all stemmed from Homemade Christmas. So
yeah,
like I said, everything happens the way it's supposed to, and bless my girlfriend, she got something else, I got that one. Well, thank you. I always say, I'm like, thank you. And it's just, learning experience, and it's great.
Well, you've done several other Christmas movies, A Christmas Family Reunion. Do you enjoy doing those? And I've got to ask too, because I was in all three of the Christmas at Graceland movies in Memphis at Elvis's house, but they shoot those out of season to give them time to edit, to air, so forth. Do you run into that shooting out of season? Like you're wearing the coats in the summer. Have any of your films been that way?
100%. So welcome. It's a really long title. Welcome to the Christmas Family Reunion. Was shot in LA. So we shot it in January, so it wasn't too hot, but it was interesting because when I think Christmas, I associate, because I'm from Canada, I think snow. I think like making snow angels. I think of maple syrup. I think of like our hot chocolates, and like that's an association for me. Mm-hmm. It was fun to celebrate it in a world that wasn't familiar to me and is familiar to other people, so you get to experience that. And then last month, no, what month are we in? Oh God, the time is just like, ever since the pandemic hit, it's like I blink.
I know, it really is.
Yeah. I was in an audition the other day, and they asked how old I was, and I went 34. 34. Final answer. But yeah, so I did one in June. It's another Lifetime movie. I actually haven't announced or said this to anyone yet, but it is called Record Breaking Christmas. And my co-star is Andrew Buchel, who's a fantastic actor. We had so much fun together. And it's a really cute little story. There's a lot more romance in it, like from the get-go, than some of these other movies where you have to wait.
Right.
There's lots of romance happening, which I love.
Yeah.
My favorite scenes are all the kissing scenes. I'm like, yes, today is a kissing scene. Amazing. I can't wait.
So you like the kissing scenes, because I know a lot of actors and actresses that are so nervous and petrified over a kissing scene.
No, I love it because when there's physicality like that, it's hard to be too much in here. And it's easy for me, at least. I drop into heart space, as we mentioned earlier. And I'm like all about the heart. So it's beautiful when you can just look at someone in the eyes, even a stranger, someone you don't know, and just like surrendering and giggling, or just like staring right into them and giving that like nice little smooch. So like I actually enjoy my I can't say there's anyone I didn't like it with. So no, I think yeah.
You've never had any bad experiences then from a kissing scene?
Never.
Really?
No, I can't say I have. And everyone's been really respectful about it. Like, you know, on one of them, they're like, hey, so like how much, any tongue, no tongue, I'm like, don't even worry about it. We will musically figure it out as it happens. Like if tongue, cool. If there's none, that's fine. You know, as long as it's just like, we're enjoying our moment together, then it will play out just perfectly.
Yeah, so, because like you said, if you're thinking about that beforehand, you're going to get into your head and it's not going to be your best. Yeah. I can totally see. I've never thought of it like that, but I can totally see that. Yeah.
I remember one of mine, and I won't name names, but one of my co-stars was, you know, a little more hesitant, like with how much or how does this work? And then by like the 5th time we did it, they called cut. And I noticed they called cut. I'm like, well, this is fun. I'm into this. And then, you know, he kept going. I'm like, well, I'll just go until the guy stops. I'm totally enjoying this. But yeah, you know, it's just like, and obviously respectfully and appropriately within a set. But I just love those. And even if it's not a kissing scene, like anything that involves like the heart and getting to really connect with someone is always my favorite.
Yeah. Well, some people may remember you also from Up TV's Love in Translation, which I have set to DVR right now. I was going to watch it before that. That's the only one I haven't seen, but I have a feeling I'm going to love it just from the previews. I'm into the rom-coms too, not just the Christmas movies. Well, I'm going to really get it after this episode.
Oh my God. It's okay.
Did you enjoy making that film or?
Yeah, that was really fun. That was with Corey Sevier. He was such a gentle, sweet, like great actor. I mean, he's done a lot of rom-coms, so he's no stranger to them. And yeah, oh man, that was a fun role. I played Julie. This was in 2021. I think we shot it in 2020. It was during the pandemic.
Oh wow!
Fun fact. Fun fact. During the pandemic, for our kissing scene, speaking of kissing scenes, we had to use a piece of plastic in between our mouths so that when we actually kissed, we weren't touching lips.
Wow.
So Corey was holding this piece of plastic and I was trying to stay serious because I'm like trying to be like, I forget what the line was. I'm like, yeah, and I'm so into you. And I wanted to stare at him in the eyes so I could just see this piece of giant plastic underneath his eyeballs. And it was just like, and we wanted to commit. And I remember being like, I don't know if it was me or Corey, we're like, should we just do it? Like when they go to say action, like just take the thing away and just go. But then we forgot that we're mic'd and the director.
Oh no.
And he comes up to us, he's like, if any of you are thinking anything like doing it anyway, don't. And we were like, damn it. You know, it's the moment. You wait an hour and a half for the whole movie. You want a good one, right? Like you want a good, like satisfying moment. So we just committed. We did use the plastic. So you won't see it if you, like when you watch, you could try. You won't see it.
I'm definitely going to be looking for that though.
Yeah. It's funny. I have footage of the plastic from behind the scenes and I just laugh when I see it. It's just ridiculous. Interesting moment in time we're in. Like we're putting plastic in between our mouths, yet we want to show connection. Like, I mean. Yeah.
Are there still some sets or some of your recent films or movies that you're still having to take some precautions?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we have to wear masks. We have to usually test every few days. It's funny you're saying that too. It's like I was with Travis in Ottawa and we were in like a Scandinavian spa. It was on our weekend and it was beautiful. The snow was coming down. It was cold outside, but we were in like a warm, like there's these like pools. Mm-hmm. And I just remember being so happy and just being like so content. And to just, I said to him, I'm like, remember when we were sitting at the Scandinavian spa, to think that 2 weeks after that, the whole world would shut down. You told me that, I would never have believed you.
Yeah.
So it was just like, that's the moment I think of when like you think all is right. And then all of a sudden, like things can just get swept real quick.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, I know you also got a chance to speak French in Love and Translation. And are you fluent in French, or do you speak other languages? Tell me about that.
Je parle français. So I went to, it's been a long time since I've spoken French. So obviously if you don't practice, you can lose it a bit. So it was nice to integrate that into a film.
Yeah.
I went to an all French school. So my mom put me in an all French school. Nobody spoke English. So for me to have friends, it forced me to have to speak French.
Wow. That's like throwing you in the pool to learn how to swim. That's
totally.
Wow.
There you go. So, but I'm grateful now because I've gotten to use it like on several occasions. And I think it's really lovely to know different languages. I wish I knew more.
Yeah.
Next one I was thinking of taking classes actually this year was Spanish. In LA, there's a lot of, Spanish here, and it would just be nice to be able to communicate with everybody and dive into their culture a little bit too. So, yeah.
Well, what were you like in school growing up then? Speaking of school, were you this outgoing in school? Did you make good grades?
I was a very like distracted kid. So when all the kids are sitting there listening, I was the one like looking up like the holes, but I wasn't thinking of nothing. I was thinking of all the things, but it was really hard for me to stay focused.
Yeah.
So what else can I say about like when I was a kid? Yeah, I was definitely a distracted kid. But I was very playful and always coming up with new things. I was a little bit bossy as a kid too, like not in a bad way, but in a way that was like, my mom would say I would be at the beach at like 4 or 5 years old and then be like, I want friends. So I'd walk up to a bunch of groups of little kids and be like, who wants to play with a sandcastle? So we'd make a sandcastle, but then immediately I was like, all right, so you need to grab the bucket. Can you go get the water? I'm going to stay here. And like, I would start to do that. So I think I was a bit like bossy as a kid. I just knew exactly what I wanted, As I get older, I had to like relax on that because no one wants to be told what to do.
Yeah. That might be a little dangerous.
Totally. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just trying to think of like, what I was like as a kid. Distracted. I was really good at languages and communications and like presentations and stuff like that. But I was really bad at math and science and anything in that field. So I think everyone has their strengths, and it's okay to not be good at all of the subjects.
Right. Yeah. Well, we got to talk about a character you played on the very popular soap opera General Hospital, which I wasn't aware of until I started reading. And then I saw the clips of you in this scene. And I'm sure you know which scene. You played Kendra. She was like this really evil, conniving type character, I believe, at least in the scenes that I saw. But first, tell us a little bit. We'll talk about that scene. But what was it like working on such an iconic show?
Oh gosh, I was so nervous because you're the new person coming in. These people have worked with each other for years. Like my main co-star was Nancy Lee Grant, and she, has been there for 30 years. So I wanted to make sure I was good enough to stand on the screen with her. Yeah. And you have to do it in one take.
That's a difference between soap operas, right?
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking because not only do you get one, the way in which things are written are very like wordy. So it took me a second to like lean into the comfortability of like, I know all my lines, you're fine. And like, you only need one take, but it takes being there and shoved into like, go, like you said, throwing a baby in the pool. And it's like, all right, like go. So I feel like as my character was coming to an end on that series, I didn't know when that was going to happen. They just kept writing her in. I thought I was doing 2 episodes. I ended up doing, I don't know, maybe like 15 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And they just kept using her. I didn't know she was going to be evil either. I think it just kind of happened over time. It's the one take wonder. That's nerve-wracking to be like emotionally available on
the
someone
pressure. I can just imagine the pressure you felt that first day of shooting.
Yeah.
one take coming from movies where if you mess it up, you can do another take. Did you feel that pressure?
100%. And I remember too being in a scene with one of the characters, and she fully stuttered. It almost sounded like stroke-like it was like she's saying something and it just didn't come out. And I was like smiling, trying to stay in it with her, and then trying to like, oh God, this poor thing. But also, what's my next line?
Yeah.
The reaction.
Yeah, because you react off of her, and if you don't get that, it could throw you off.
Stay, support, stay, yeah. So it's funny because when the scene ended, I was like, they're gonna take that one again, right? Like we get one more for that one. And she's like, I don't know. Like, she was around for so long, she didn't care. She didn't worry about those small things.
Yeah.
You'll notice on soaps too, there's a lot of stuttering and a lot of like nothing's perfectly said. In real life, I'm stuttering right now talking to you, and I'm sure sometimes you as well. It's like nobody's perfect when they speak. So that's the cool thing with soaps is, so what if you stuttered? That was just very experience.
It brings more of the reality. It works well with the soap opera, I would think. Yeah. So that was something interesting to learn. Well, we got to talk about this scene though. Playing Kendra, you played it so well. It made me think, were people in your family like hiding the sharp objects later when you got home and looking for syringes, because you take a syringe. I mean, you tell us about the scene.
I think it was less about what I was doing to her, and more about why I was doing it. So when it comes to those really dark places, I want to give those scenes as much justice as I do a rom-com scene where you want to giggle and smile. Like sometimes life's not all giggles and smile, and we do go through a lot of pain and trauma. I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
So before that scene, I had to put myself in a place that was the same as what was about to go down. So that way I was emotionally ready so that I could do it on somebody else's cue. So sitting in that, it was like the sinking feeling in your stomach, like with death or pain or trauma, and just like sitting there. And then as soon as I remember on that take, and Nancy said to me after, she's like, I'm proud of you. I was like, thank you. Because I just sat there, and it was like before they said action, I started saying to her, I'm like I'm going to I just started saying that to her, and she's like, keep going, supporting. You're there. Yes. And then I just, I don't like to make it too much to real life, but the more you do that, the more you can feel. And that might be why you like that scene, because I went somewhere I don't like at all and let it go,
Yeah.
So, imagining the death of, my brother is here because she was mourning the death of her own brother. But I think I wanted the audience to know why I needed the revenge so bad and how painful it was for me, as opposed to just being like an evil character with a syringe and you're going down and you're going to die,
Yeah. So you could see the emotion in your eyes. There was a little teary eyed just from it was great. I thought you did very well. I got to say this though, a friend of mine, Jennifer, wanted me to ask you what it is like, what it was like working with Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy's, man, if I could describe her in one word, it would be like effortless. She doesn't worry, or at least it seemed to me like she didn't worry about anything. She would show up, even learn lines on the fly, like on the spot, while I was all weekend like, oh God, repeating them a million times, making sure that I would get it right.
Yeah.
And she lived in a space of freedom, and it taught me how to be like free as well. And I really appreciated the support she gave me, especially, in those final days where just before Kendra dies, where I got to really get deep. And it's doing it in one take too. Like you don't get two takes.
Right.
So you want to try to get it on that first one.
Did you see the end coming? How soon? Or did you find out before shooting your last scene, or was it that day?
It was, I was just about to shoot a scene with Will DeVry. And I remember talking to essentially I found out right before I started shooting a scene. They were like, "Oh, Kendra dies, right?" I was like, that means that's my job coming to an end. That's not a small, that's not a small thing to throw out there. And then they're like, "Okay, Michelle, action." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, wow. No way. Oh, yeah, wow.
I don't think it was meant like it was just like, hey, like it's coming to, we have to be resilient to this stuff. This is how it works. You don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when your job's going to come to an end. And I just remember being thrown off and then like being like, okay, I have to shoot. And then I knew it was happening. And funny enough, with Shadowhunters, I found out when I got on the plane, because I finally read the script on my way to Canada from LA, because it's shot in, I think, Mississauga. And it was like, Kaylee gets a dagger to the heart and dies. And I stopped and like, wait. And I read it again. I'm like, no, the last one. Like, no, you don't always get, you don't get forecasts. And sometimes they have to make decisions. Like there's so much, you can't take it personal either. There's so many things at play, why they need to maybe take the storyline this way or that way. So I got to roll with the punches.
Yeah. And you never know in a soap opera, they could bring you back as the identical cousin or, you never know.
Yeah. Hey, General Hospital, if you want a twin sister named Kendall.
Yeah. And make her the complete opposite. Yes.
Total opposite. Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, when you're doing soap opera, can you give me any kind of tips? If I was to be a soap opera, I'm up for an audition. What tips would you give me?
100%. So my friends who audition now for soaps, they will ask me, they're like, hey, anything I should, and they'll ask me to read with them because a lot of our stuff are self-tapes now. We don't go in the room because of COVID and everything. And I'm like, the one most important thing I think is the final stare. I'm like, but you can't just stare and think of nothing. You have to stare and think of thoughts. So like, because at the end that like thing they do.
That last word, you got to hold that.
Yeah.
Yes.
The hold, you feel like a dumbass. But then when you sit in it and like continue the thoughts, if it's like, I'm going to get you, you have no idea what's going on. It's only going to be a matter of time. As long as you're thinking of something, then at least the long gaze gets more comfortable.
I don't know that I could, because you have to have control of your eyebrows, I think, a lot, like, to get certain.
Maybe it's like one of these. Can you do but it can't be too big, just minor, like thinking. I don't know. Again,
yeah,
real
the
thought.
thinking, like from Friends.
Yeah. Then you're just going to see a person thinking about where they should place their eyebrows while they're in a movie. You know what I mean? Like, okay, think about those things.
You're going to remember that the next scene you're in, your eyebrows would just.
Oh, no, thanks a lot.
Subconsciously, you're like, oh.
Oh, man. And reading reviews is hilarious, too, because for everything you do, you're going to have people who are like, oh, my God, I connected to this character. She was amazing. I want to see her more. And then the same character, same movie, someone's like, oh man, that was terrible. Did these guys just come out of like high school, like theater or whatever? Like, so I learned over time to never take anything personal, because it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It's just how people see the world and how they viewed you within their world.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. And then even if you're the most famous person in the world, someone's not going to like you. And if you can sit in a space of not being liked and being okay with that, then it's very freeing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we talked about how you had a blooper, I guess, during your play time. What about soap operas or movies? Do you have any good blooper stories there?
I'm sure I have tons. Like, for some reason, the first line always stresses me out. Though I could have a whole monologue, but I stress out over what the first line is, so I'm repeating it in my head before I get started. Sometimes it's just not a good thing to do. I don't suggest this for anyone. Don't do that. But like walking in and then like starting the scene and being like, scripty line. It's like we're human. Sometimes it happens. And so when you don't take it so, like, don't be so hard on yourself, and you get another take other than soaps, of course. And then suddenly that fight or flight kind of goes away and you can sit in your body more and you don't worry about that first line. But I'd say, yeah, bloopers would maybe be some of my first lines, or I'm sure there's been some hilarious stuff, especially with Travis. Like we would just be laughing our asses off over the dumbest things that were happening. And we were just like, just go with it.
Yeah. So, which made it, I'm telling you, it made for great film though. I mean, it came across in your performance. You guys were great there. Maybe you'll do a part 2 to that someday.
Oh man, I would love to work with him. In fact, one of the recent films I did, I think it was we were almost put together again. I found out later. I was like, that would be fun. Yeah, but I'm also always open to working with new people because you get new experiences as well.
Yeah.
So it all works out.
Yeah. Well, you've done dramas, romantic comedies, the evil type roles. Do you have a favorite that you prefer to play? I know all actors get asked that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have a favorite. I think whatever's most connected in my life. I notice that every time I get given a role, it like directly correlates to what's going on in my personal life in one way or another. So sometimes having the thriller is like very therapeutic for me. So when you're holding on to pain and trauma, you can kind of release that into your characters. And then when it comes to rom-coms, it's like finding the play and the joy and the fun in life, because they're definitely a blast. Like you can't not have fun doing Christmas movies. I mean, it's Christmas every day, all day. That's joy. So I think they're both great for different reasons, and I wouldn't want to stick to one or the other. I would love to do a thriller right now. I feel like that would be really great. Yeah, I've done a bunch of rom-coms back to back, so now I feel like a good thriller would be great.
Yeah. Would you prefer to do like a romantic comedy, a thriller, a drama, or would you like to stay in that mindset and do like 2 or 3 thrillers in a row?
I like jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps everything fresh.
Totally. That's why I like movies too, because they're short. When you're on a series, you're playing the same, not the same, it's one character essentially, being them, but it's nice to be and dive into the shoes of different people,
right?
So, I think it brings a lot of empathy too, to like my life when I have to stop and like really be like, well, how would this person feel? Like, their brother just died. They're standing in front of a funeral home and they have to deliver a speech while the person's niece is, or they just have to, there's so many things that's just like, anyway. Yeah.
The tears, are you one of those that the tears come easy, or do you have to really struggle to get the tears to flow at times?
No, I usually can. Because if you just sit in your heart space and you're paying attention and not, really being there with someone, even like my heart, I can feel it because we're talking about it now. I can probably dive into, some tears, and it's not even about tears. I know people are like, oh, tears coming, like make it come for the camera.
Yeah.
I don't really I almost think it's more interesting to try to hold back your tears versus like showing, look, I'm crying. I did it,
Right.
As a positive thing as opposed to an internal struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about some of the people you enjoyed working with. Is there anybody that is a dream of yours to work with, or that you would really love to work with someday?
Oh my God. So can I say my crush? My like celebrity?
Yes, please. Yes.
It's definitely Paul Rudd.
Okay.
And I would love to work with him because he's just like, he's got this like endearingly nerdy but like lovable authenticity to him that like just exists, and life is awkward, so like he can bring that little bit of awkwardness but lovability at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just love that, and I think it's very attractive. So it'd be fun to do some, with I think a scene with him where we can like play together and be vulnerable but then silly and kind of have some.
He's great. I love him. He brings a lightheartedness to a lot of the films that words won't do. You just have to be able to project it. I love that about him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Paul, if you're listening, hi.
Well, I've seen some adorable little pictures of a little friend of yours named, is it Peitre? Yeah. Tell us about Peitre. Oh,
that's my heart. That's my little love. She's 10. Actually, she turned 10 2 days ago.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday, Peitre.
They say happy birthday, Peitre. Happy birthday. Do you want me to grab Peitre real
Grab her. Yes, let's see her. She is adorable. I've seen some of your posts, and I want to see how small she actually is. Oh, my dog, which is not in here, she's in a whole nother section, looks just like that. I'm not kidding. I'll email you a picture. But what is she? Is that what is she, by the way?
She's a Morkie, so a Maltese Yorkie mix.
Yes, that's what mine is.
No way.
I thought that when I saw it, she looks identical. But now seeing her in person, it looks a little bigger. And people say that about mine until they see her in person, and she's just small.
You can't bring her out? I'm like, where is she?
I can go get her.
Yes, go get her.
All right. Okay, I got now. I cut her hair so it doesn't look as good as she's excited because she just normally. Yeah, she loves getting out and coming in. She's all excited, when you first let them out. And
oh my God, they look the same.
When her hair is longer, it looks a lot like yours, like Peitre. This is Tori, by the way.
Hi, Tori.
My son named Tori because he had a crush on a little girl named Tori. She is actually 13 years old.
Oh,
yeah.
So cute. Oh my goodness. Tori's doing what Peitre normally does. She'll be like, I'm surprised she's this calm right now. She's like,
yeah, she's so cute. And I wanted to ask for sure because they look a lot alike. Yeah.
Oh, Tori. And I love the Morkie too, because it's a little, their hair is a little less stringy than the Yorkie.
Yeah.
It's a little bit fluffy like the Maltese, but then look Yorkie.
Yeah. When she has a bath and she's all cleaned. Yeah, she's real fluffy.
What if they were from the same batch?
Wouldn't that be something if that was actually her little
sisters? Oh,
it could be. I mean, that's crazy. That's awesome. Okay, I'll let you go.
I got Peitre from the name Peitre from The Land Before Time.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know the little dinosaur movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Pterodactyl.
So cute. And she seems to have a really sweet disposition, and you couldn't tell with Tori, but she's just like a little baby.
Oh, I know.
Just wants to be loved on. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
That's awesome. Well, we got to talk a little bit about this because people may not know this about you. Some may. Not only are you a successful actress, you also own and operate a successful equity-based staffing agency. What's it called again?
It's called Landmark Staffing. So Landmarks with an X staffing.
Yes. Well, tell us how that came about.
Oh my God. So I started it 11 years ago. It was as soon as I came out of university, and I didn't go to university for business or anything. I just know I love people and I love connecting people. And I like bringing people together. So I made like a company, a staffing agency where I was able to take clients who needed something specific and then finding that for them and like finding just amazing humans to connect together. And then I made a business out of it. And then fast forward 11 years, and it's still going.
Wow. Well, tell me, who has meant the most to you in your career?
I think there's several people. I think it's the ones that stood beside me when I just had a dream of doing something with myself. I notice as time goes on, more people show up when others are validating you by getting the jobs. Mm-hmm. And what I love the most is the ones that when I said something that might have sounded nuts or unrealistic or whatever it is that holds us back, that was like, yes, you can. Yeah. And, believed in me from day one versus like now. Right. I think that would be my answer.
Tell us what's next for you. I know you said you have the Christmas movie coming up. Do you have any other projects in the works?
Not right now. I'm actually taking a minute. I booked out. I needed a month of like nothing. I went to Mexico for 2 weeks. I did yoga, sound baths. Like, I think it's important to recognize when you want to keep giving. Like, we all have batteries, right? And in these movies, you're giving a lot. 16 hours a day. I just finished record-breaking Christmas. And so I had told my agent, my manager, I'm like, I don't care what opportunity comes up. I'm booking out for the month. I need the whole month to really kind of like get that battery back up, work on yourself and kind of just get into your skin again and like sure you're filling your cup as well as, giving, so yeah, I feel like I'm taking this month to do that. And then the future is always unknown. So we'll see what comes up. It's always happened so fast and out of nowhere too. So I think it's really important to to own these moments of pause and enjoy them and just see them as moments of pause, as opposed to, oh my God, I need to figure out what my next job is going to be.
Well, before I let you go, we do a little segment called Drill Time. And I don't know, you've probably done this on some other podcasting shows where you go, whatever pops into your head kind of thing. I love this. This is awesome. For me, this is my favorite. Give me a hidden talent you have.
Fat tongue.
Oh, wow. You look like a parakeet, actually. Is it a parakeet or a parrot? Parrot.
Parrot.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, I don't know where I learned this from. I figured it out about when I was 15. So
yeah.
My little back pocket trick.
Can you do, I can't do it. That little thing where you can curve your tongue that people do.
I don't think so.
I can't even, I cannot do it. I'm not even going to try. I don't have that skill.
Yeah, I don't know, or the clover where it's like.
Yes.
I don't think I can do that either.
You did it pretty well for a second. Yes. I can't do it. I can't do it.
All right. Yeah. What's next?
Okay. If you could go back to any time in history, who would you most want to have a conversation with?
Oh, my grandma.
Oh, yes.
My grandma. I would do anything. If I could just have 5 minutes with her, just 5. And my grandpa too, but my grandma specifically.
Yeah. Okay. Name 3 things that you absolutely cannot live without.
Mascara, coffee, and Peitre.
Yes. Okay. What's your favorite food?
That is the hardest question because I like all food. So I could not pick one for you. And
what about a genre of food? Like what type?
Oh my gosh, like a shawarma, tacos, sushi, love Persian food, Ethiopian food. I mean, like, if you don't even get me going because it won't end. I just like everything. I really can't choose.
Okay, favorite actor or actress of all time?
Probably Angelina Jolie or Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both great actresses.
Yeah, Natalie's classic, and I feel like Angelina is like she has that dark side, but everyone has that. We all have a little piece of that inside. So I resonate with that. And I think she's just so authentic and like raw with her roles. I think, I'd say her.
Maybe you can channel her when Kendra comes back to General Hospital. Yeah.
Natalie is the rom-coms and then the Angelinas is all
Okay. Name one thing that you will never do again.
Bungee jump.
Oh, have you bungee jumped?
I did. Yeah.
Was it a bad experience?
Well, there's a good and a bad part. So the good part was I was so in love with someone that they blindfolded me and they took me out on my birthday to go do this. And he didn't know that was basically my worst nightmare, was to try to jump off a bridge. And I was like, is it love or fear? Love or fear? And I was like, you're jumping with me. And then I just wrapped my legs around him and he had to jump. So we did it tandem.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it. So it was great for the jumping moment. But then I got vertigo for like a month and a half after. So then I regretted it. So I wouldn't do it. I don't have a month and a half to give away.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, there's an experience you could probably use to channel something in the future for your acting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Most embarrassing moment of your life.
There's just so many. I mean, like, I kind of enjoy embarrassing moments because they're so human and it makes you laugh or it causes an emotion, like I would say like what comes straight to mind, I could tell you a million of them, but when I was doing a runway modeling thing and I was the first person to come out and I think I was in swimwear or something. And I wanted to make sure I was like very like sharp. Like I wanted to walk out and like give them the like first look thing and then start walking. But for some reason, it was really slippery. So as I was walking, I did one of those, like the legs were going like this, and I was trying to get my balance. So that's how the whole show started. I was like this. And then I heard the crowd go, and then I stopped. I looked up, and I was like, I just kept walking. Like, what can you do? Like, what are you supposed to do with that? You can't.
Yeah.
It happens. You know?
Play it off like you meant to do it. It's part of the walk. It's just part of what I was doing.
Totally. It's like me either. There's one embarrassing moment.
Okay, if you had to pick one person to trade lives with for just one day, who would it be?
Oh, man,
You had to.
I have to.
You had to.
Audrey Hepburn. I'd say her because not she that heart thing that I love to talk about. She was heart and she was great at what she did, but why it was so great was because of the other things that she also did. And so you love her, and she did a lot of like humanitarian things and like, so let's go with her then.
Okay, good answer. Okay, Elvis or the Beatles?
Elvis. So, okay, two things about Elvis. One, did you see the movie that came out?
Yes.
So good.
It was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then two, fun fact, I got married in Vegas about maybe 7 or 8 years ago by Elvis at the Little White Chapel in Vegas.
Yes, that is incredible.
Yeah, it was
I heard that they were closing that down, though. Is that true?
I heard that recently too. I'm not sure, but I heard it was like last month or something that they won't be doing that anymore.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was fun. It was spontaneous.
I got to tell you this too, because General Hospital, they have a reunion there of former General Hospital cast members at Graceland there once a year. They're doing it again this year, or maybe they already have. It was soon though, so you should go. You should do that. Then you can do the whole Elvis thing.
Totally, go back and so many. Yeah, Elvis keeps popping up in my life in some pretty like big moments.
Yes. Okay, we asked this one to everybody that's on the show: toilet paper over or under? That's such a dumb question.
Which we wipe, or are we talking about
on the toilet roll? TMI. TMI.
I don't know. Hold on. Let me read that. Let me see. This is a really question. I thought so. Do you think I would be an over or an under?
I'm gonna. Well, the majority of people say over, but because you are so quirky and different, and now I'm gonna say under.
I wish I was under now, but I was over.
I'm over. 90% of people say over. My girlfriend is under. We have a battle about this all the time.
That's so funny. I've never been asked that question before. That's fun.
Okay, so if you can look back to any age of your life, what is the best age that you experienced of your life? 34?
Right now.
Right now. And only getting better.
Yeah, I feel like people fear aging and getting older, but I feel like every year you get to know yourself so much better, and all those things that you worry about all the time, they become so insignificant and small, and so you feel more comfortable with who you are. Yeah. And so I would go with like right now, 34. Yeah,
I feel the same way. I've told, the older I get, the more peace you have, the more you enjoy things. You are able to take things a little slower and enjoy them.
And the people you're with, you can like fine tune it, like, and spend more quality time over like quantity of people. You can kind of really intentionally spend time with people. And no, for sure. I think aging is nice. It's not about
Okay, tell me your favorite TV show ever.
Okay, I know this is dark.
Or top 3. You can go 2 or 3.
Okay, I loved Bates Motel.
Yeah.
First of all, I love Grey's Anatomy. That's like my go-to because it's just been years of it. So it's been such a big part of my life for so many years. So I'll start with Grey's.
Okay.
But I do like Bates Motel. And I thought it was just fascinating how like a person can personify, would that be the word? Somebody else so well, but still like it's like another spirit in the body that like, and then, so what was his name? Norman Bates.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the mom's name was Norma, right?
I think
Norma
so.
And Norman.
Yes.
Oh, I swear the scene that blew my mind was the kitchen scene where he personifies his mom and he thinks he's his mom.
Yes.
And there's so much psychological.
So many layers to
about
that.
why. Yeah. So I really love things that like make you think. I like the hows and the whys of life more than the whats. The whats are fine. They're surfaced and that's cool. But I'm like, but why? Like when you hear these murder documentaries, you're like, okay, that's but why? Like what happened for that? Were you born that way? Was that something happened and then you felt unsafe? So you're seeking safety? Are you seeking freedom? Like what is the stuff?
Yeah. I hate those ones that end and don't tell you that. They, they end with the question mark. And I know they want you to come to your own conclusions, but I hate those.
Oh, I love documentaries too.
Yes.
Can I say documentaries? Because those are like just so fascinating.
Yeah.
People are fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Who is the smartest person that you know?
My brother's friend, Mike.
Yeah. Why? Why do you say that?
He's like knows new math. Like he's coming up with math that's never been discovered before. So I'm like, this guy is just like, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like he's just a genius. If we were talking like creative genius, I would probably say my dad. He's like the things he comes up with and his understanding of using my hands a lot. I realize I'm very like his understanding of like humanity and like existence is like so incredibly insanely smart.
Yeah.
And it depends what smart means to you too. So if we're talking like book smart, let's go with Mike. If we're talking like creative smart, I'm going to go with my dad.
It goes back to your lack of math skills again.
Maybe that's it. I'm
so impressive.
I'm like everyone's smart compared to like on my standards for math. I'm like, that's smart too. I'm sure you're way like good smart as well. I'm like, yeah. Because one have to equal 2. Why can't it be 5? It can be anything we want it to be. Don't tell me that it has to be. I don't like things that are so final. I like opening up ideas, different side of the brain.
Okay. Tell me this. What, in your opinion, had the best decade of great movies?
Oh man, that's tough. I would say the 90s was pretty great. I feel like sometimes now we've dove into so many things. It's like, how can we be interesting? Like, how can we be interesting? Whereas back then it was simpler, like simpler moments that matter more versus like, oh, that's so crazy. Now we're going to insert this and this and this and this and make the craziest movie ever. And sometimes just those fine moments that mean everything. Yeah. So I feel like the 90s probably, and that's when I was growing up. So yeah, I'd say the 90s.
I think a lot of people may answer it that way, is to pick the era when they were young. It's just your outlook on the world is so fresh and new on everything, and anything's possible. And maybe that has something, because I'm the same way. Like mine is more of the 80s type movies, so maybe it's something.
Self-discover, like you're saying, you're trying to self-discover, and you're self-discovering sometimes with what you're seeing on TV. So if you see romance for the first time, like what is it like to kiss someone? So if you're like you're the age of ever doing that, you're like, oh, I don't know what it feels like, but like that's what it looks like. Like what would that feel like? Or Yeah. Well, I gotta say thank you. This has been so much fun. I can't thank you enough for being with us today on the show. This is incredible. I loved it. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this was definitely a blast, and it's fun, especially being thrown questions that you don't have an answer to always, but like, it's interesting to like share time and space together. So thank you for that. Yeah. And, my pleasure. I can't wait for your new film to come out. It's in the Lifetime lineup. It's called Record Breaking Christmas. And essentially I play a world records adjudicator. She's a rule-based, very rules are rules type character. And then she eventually melts like ice because she meets her Mr. Right. Yeah. So, I always get nervous because I haven't seen it yet. So I hope it's great, but they always do a fantastic job with putting them together. So like, I trust that it's in good hands. Yeah. Well, if people wanted to follow you, where can they follow you? Yeah. I mean, I guess on Instagram, Michelle_Argyris. Or Argyris or Argyris or Argyris, whichever one you want to call it. I'm so sorry. No, I don't think anyone's ever actually, if we really want to get to the root of it, it's actually Argyris, if we want to be specific, because it was Argyrievsky. Yeah, it was Argyrievsky. So I don't want to talk to my grandma again. It was Argyriovsky, but they changed it to Argyris because we're Macedonian, and they had to change it to a Greek last name so that they wouldn't get killed on the way to Canada.
Okay.
So they had to like get on the boat and try to make it. So they had to change their last name. So that's where Argyris comes in. So Michelle Argyris, I guess, or
Argyris.
Argyris. I mean, that's the French way of saying it. There's a million ways.
I would have messed it up either way, I'm sure, probably. It's been a pleasure. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Watch Michelle Argyris starring in Record-Breaking Christmas, December 15th at 7 p.m. Central on Lifetime. More Life and Laughs episodes are at lifeandlaughs.simplecast.com, as well as links to all of our social media sites. While you're here, check out some of our fantastic past episodes of Life and Laughs. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing to Life and Laughs podcast and YouTube channel.
Merry